Hello, welcome back to my channel. So I'm so excited for this week's technique because it's so simple but so effective. Now I am using my two favorite yarns and I've got a new yarn in the mix, which is this beautiful wire-like metallic yarn. It's called Abigail on my website, so do check it out if you haven't seen it. So it's just some basic transfer work, but it just looks so beautiful because of the choice of yarns I've used. So whatever it is that you choose to knit with, just try and experiment quite a lot so it's effective and you find out what works for you. So like I said, I've just used the two yarns on here. The second one is a metallic viscose, which is the fine one, and I've used two ends of it. And just overall, the quality of the swatch and the feel is just all beautiful. It's so lightweight and it drapes really well. Right then, let's get started. Right, so I will be demonstrating on a swatch that I've already done. Now, don't get confused, it's actually quite simple. So you need to go ahead and cast on in a particular setup. So we've got one needle working, we'll be doing two transfers, as in transfer on two needles, one needle working, transfer on two needles. Okay, so technically it's sets of 4 needles. So you've got to end with an even number, and you want to go ahead and cast on in any one yarn. So I will be using Abigail, which is this metallic viscose blend wire-like yarn, and I'm absolutely loving it. So for those of you that follow me on Instagram would know that I've been going a little bit crazy with this yarn, and obviously my other favorite, which is the metallic viscose, the fine one here. Okay, so go ahead and cast on in a thicker yarn, and we will then be starting off with some transfer work. So I will be using a single prong transfer tool, and what we're going to do is we're going to go right to the beginning, so the left hand side, and we're going to go ahead and transfer the second needle, okay, so that needle here, over to the right. Now you can do it to the right or to your left, it doesn't matter, okay, whichever you're comfortable doing. So transfer the second needle over, leave 2 needles untouched, then transfer the next needle, leave 2 untouched, and transfer the next needle. So just go ahead and do your transfer work all across your needle bed, okay? Now all of those empty needles that you've got, so the ones that you've just transferred, go ahead and push them all the way over to the back of the bed, okay? So they've got to be in a non-working position. Now I have gone ahead and threaded up my metallic Abigail yarn, which is this one here. This is slightly on the thicker side, I wouldn't say too thick actually, it's quite like a 7 gauge yarn, I would say. And the tension that I'll be using for this yarn is tension 4. But if you find that it's too tight, if you're using the same yarn as me, then you can actually use it on tension 5, and it's beautifully on either or really. And the other thing I'd like to mention is, if you are testing out this technique, it is the yarns that make the technique, but then again, just try out with whatever you've got on hand, but please make sure that you do experiment with your fibers and yarns. Okay, and mainly thick and thin, of course. Right, so go ahead and knit one row. Now, once you've done so, go ahead and start off your transfer work again. Okay, so we'll be transferring, within those sets of 2 needles, we'll be transferring 1. Okay, so going to 1, 2, 3, the third needle transfer over to your right. So the layout you'll be left with is 1 working, 2 empty, 1 working, 2 empty. So just go ahead and transfer one of those 2 needles over to your right, and then you'll have the layout set up. Now go ahead and push all of those empties all the way to the back of the bed, and go ahead and knit 1 row. Okay. And now we are going to swap our yarn over to the two ends of the metallic viscose, which are these ones here. I know some of you have bought these yarns off me, so I really do hope you're getting on well with them. They are really gorgeous yarns. You just need to know how to use them, that's all. Okay, right, so we've done our transfer work, and now what we're going to do is push some needles into work, okay? So needles into action. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to select one on the left-hand side of the working needle, okay? Just push it forward, and one on the right-hand side of that working needle, okay? And then leave that one here. So leave that single working needle and then get to the next set, push one on the right and one on the left, leave one of those working needles and push one on either side of that working needle. So just go ahead and do so all across your bed, and we're going to knit 2 rows. The tension I'm using is 4. Okay, and now we're going to go ahead and push all of our empty needles back into working position, change our yarn back to the Abigail, and we're going to knit 2 rows. Okay, so we've done one set of the eyelets. Okay, we'll transfer work. Now the next one, the setup is the same, okay? So we're going to go ahead and transfer the second needle over to the right, leave 2, transfer 1 over to the right, leave 2, and just continue to do so. It is slightly different in regards to the needles that we push forward, so stick with me. Okay. Now go ahead and knit 1 row. Now go ahead and transfer one of those 2 needles over to your right or to your left. And so you'll be left with a layout of 1 needle working, 2 out of action, 1 needle working and 2 out of action. Push those empties all the way to the back of the bed and go ahead and knit 1 row. Right, change your yarn over to your metallic, the other metallic viscose. And what we're going to do this time in regards to pushing the needles out, we are going to push just one of those 2 empty needles forward, okay? You pick the left or pick the right, whichever one you want to go with. I'm going to pick the right hand side. So just push one of those 2 needles forward, and it just gives you a slightly different outcome in regards to your eyelets, okay? I hope you can tell the difference here. So you can see that one here and that one is different. Now if you're thinking, oh, what's the point in this, I can just go ahead and do a repeat pattern of the one set. The point is that it's a subtle detail, okay? I think details in knit really count for something. So you might think, oh, I actually want to change it ever so slightly, so it just adds that extra bit of something in your swatch or your garment. And also, if you just want to go ahead and do a completely different swatch with a different setup that we've done, so do 1 on each swatch, you can do so to show like a variation. But I think like a few changes go a long way in a garment or a swatch, okay? Right, so go ahead and knit 1 row. And now push all of your empties back into working position and knit another. And that is basically your repeat pattern. So we did one setup here and then we did the other setup here, okay? So I am just going to maybe repeat it. If you are happy with it, or if you understood it fully, you can just actually stop the swatch demonstration right here, but I'm just going to go ahead and repeat it, okay? So going over to your second needle, transferring it to the right, leave 2, transfer 1 over to your right, leave 2 and carry on. Push your empties to the back of the bed. Go ahead and swap your yarn over to the thicker one. So for us it's Abigail. Knit 1 row. Go ahead and transfer 1 of the 2 over to your right. Go ahead and knit another, and now push, so select, so the second working needle, push the needle on the left hand side to it and the right hand side to it all the way forward into working position. Leave 1 working needle and push the left and right. Leave 1, push the left and right needles. Okay. Go ahead and knit 2 rows in your fine metallic viscose. Push all of your needles back into action and knit 2 in the thicker yarn. So I'm hoping you can see the difference in these two. Okay, right, so go back to your transfer work. This is the second set of the eyelets, okay, and then obviously then it will be done after. So go ahead and do your transfer work again. You've got 2 needles working, 1 out of action, 2 needles working and 1 out of action. Make sure all of your empty needles are pushed all the way to the back of the bed. Go ahead and knit 1 row. Go ahead and transfer that 1 needle over to your right to get a layout of 1 needle working, 2 out of action, 1 needle working and 2 out of action. Knit 1 row. Go ahead and change your yarn to the metallic viscose. And now we're going to push 1 of the set of 2 of empty needles forward. So we're changing. Do you know what, actually? If you want to change this, if you want to change this in another way, what you can do is push the other empty needle forward. Okay, so I've been pushing the right hand side. You can go ahead and push your left. It will make a very, very small difference, but again, like I said, subtle details. Knit 1 and then push the other. Empty needles forward and knit another. I hope you enjoyed that. I think it's actually quite beautiful solely because of the yarns, and I can't wait to see what more I can create with this yarn because it's absolutely gorgeous. Right, well, that's it for this week, and I just want to let you guys know that I will only be posting about 1 or 2 techniques a month now. I am moving my demonstrations over to Patreon, which is a subscription service. So if you're looking for more swatches to learn and more techniques to get on with, do come find me on there. It would be amazing to create a little community, and also I have more swatches and patterns available on my website, so do go check them out. Follow me on Instagram for updates, and I will see you soon. Bye.